Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Drew Gann and Rusty Witten. Now, let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another jam-packed edition of the Two Buck Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets, checking in with you before the sun goes all the way down. Checking in with my colleague and friend, Uncle Buck. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you, buddy?
Man, I am good. We managed to get this in before 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night, which is nice. I mean, the sun's still shining outside. Just a beautiful day in paradise here in North Mississippi. How is it over in Western Tennessee?
It's getting hot, but it's not bad. It's sunshine is beautiful. It started off kind of rough, and then with some rain this morning. I was in one of my clinics downtown yesterday, and I told the guy I was meeting with the clinic director, I was like, I think that sounds like hail. He's like, no, I don't think so. And we looked outside. It was marble-sized hail coming down everywhere. And he was like, that's hail.
Yep. Typically in my line of work, we're always watching the weather because I'm a Power Ranger. And if a thunderstorm comes through, that means I'm going to work. So yesterday we were watching it, and I was seeing that Memphis was kind of getting some nasty weather. But typically if Memphis gets it, it goes north of Tippah County, Mississippi. I have to watch like Central Arkansas or South Central Arkansas. If Mississippi County, Arkansas gets hit, it's coming to us,
Yeah.
And so you kind of learn the trajectories a little bit. And so we've dodged it. We've had a good year so far, knock on wood.
I wouldn't say that because they're calling for some tough weather over the next couple of days. So I would be real careful with that.
Well, I can tell you right now that nothing will beat 2023 when it comes to severe weather in Tippah County, Mississippi. And so, anyways, it's a beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky anymore. And so hopefully we can give you guys an hour and 15 to an hour and 20 minutes of show without the lights going out. So here goes nothing. Rusty,
Here goes nothing.
We start every show the same way. We are two best friends that's been doing this for about a year, but we've been friends for 10 years now almost. And so before we even get started talking about sports and everything else, we talk about life. And we highlighted it in our Bucks Best and Beef of the Week. So, Rusty, your best non-sports related thing that happened to you this week is what?
Yeah, I got a lot of sports things that happened this week that are pretty good, but we'll get into those later in the show. For me, I recognize that I'm a very fortunate, very blessed man in a lot of ways, and one of them is my family. I've got some good family that love me well, always take care of me. You know my family and how wonderful they are, and my dad is not.
Brother.
Say again?
Except for your brother.
That's the assumed. If you're a friend of the podcast, you understand where that Clark's the one that we don't talk about. He's that uncle that everybody has.
Yeah.
But anyway, Drew, I came through, saw y'all Saturday morning, hung out with the Gann family on Saturday, had a great time. But my dad's not in the best of health, as a lot of people know, and his birthday was Monday. So Rockman turned 64 on Monday, and we had a big cookout with the family on Sunday. Mimi's birthday is actually today as you're listening to this show. So, my grandmother, Kathy Witten, wish you a happy birthday. Wish you a happy birthday here in the comments. She would appreciate that. But yeah, we cooked some burgers, some chicken, some hot dogs, just like we used to out underneath the tree out by my grandmother's house and had a great time. I am a fan of blue cheese. Not sure, Uncle Buck, thoughts on blue cheese? No. We were having this conversation earlier at work, and it made me think about this. I cooked my burger, and then everybody's putting, they want cheddar or American or Swiss or whatever. I went to my grandmother's fridge and got a bottle of chunky blue cheese dressing and put that on my burger, and it was fire, son, fire. And so it was a good all the way around day for sure.
I don't know much about cheeses per se, but I do know that if it's chunky, you should probably throw it out. And
especially if it's blue, right?
Right. Chunky blue cheese sounds rotten.
But, for those of us with actual taste, it's very good. It goes great on a hamburger, goes great on a steak and a salad. But, yeah, so my best of the week is just another trip around the sun for my dad, Rockman, and Mimi's birthday today. So happy birthday, guys. Pops, I know you watch this a lot at home. So happy birthday, good sir. I appreciate you, man.
Happy birthday, Rockman. Yeah, my best of the week, it's, I love relaxing weekends. I think we've talked about this on this show. We run and we run and we run. Baseball season wound down, and Haley had a little breakfast coffee date with all of her girlfriends on Saturday morning, and Rusty came to town, and so I took a page out of my grandmother's handbook, and I was just like, if anybody on the hillside wants breakfast, come to the Gann house. And I made 40 pancakes and 2 pounds of bacon and 24 eggs, and just fed the hillside, and it was just 10 out of 10. I love it. That's right up my alley. You know?
It was fun. You know, you asked me to stop and get some OJs, so I started to get 1 jug. I was like, I'm gonna get 2 just in case something told me to. And when I opened that door holding my 2 jugs of OJ, and there was like 30 people in there, I was like, boy, I made a good decision here.
Yeah. I didn't give Buckets a heads up at all as to the magnitude of the party. You know,
no, and it was deceiving because there was just a normal amount of cars outside. I saw your sister's van was there, and I'm like, oh well, you know. Victoria's there, no big deal. We'll be fine. And then I open the door and it's just like youngins running everywhere. There's neighbors. There's like all kind of people running through there, and it's like, okay, what's up, everybody?
Well, the thing is, between my house and my neighbor's house, there's 7 kids, and so all I got to do is make 1 call, and I've almost doubled the party. And add to that my niece and nephew stayed the night here the night before, so make that 9 plus me and Buckets and my sister. You know, it's 12 people. My wife wasn't even here. So just a great day. It was a great way to start a day. It's something that I wish I could do like every single Saturday. Like I would bite the bullet, I'd buy the food, whatever. I just love being the house that everybody comes to for events and stuff like that.
Anytime you invite me over for breakfast like that, you just let me know and I'll be there.
Okay. Well, it's not gonna be this Saturday because we're going to Crazy Horse to get on a kayak.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So probably going to be a story about that on next week's show.
Either the best or the beef. One of the two is coming out. I can guarantee it.
It can't be both, you know. No. So my best of the week, that is high up there, and it was on my list. So since you took it, I'm just going to right now. So my wife, school is out, which is always like a weird transition period between school being in session, everybody's in your routine, to school's out, everybody's at home all the time. Well, my wife messaged me today, and she was like, I want to go to Jackson because Ripley High School, Haley teaches at the elementary school, they're in the state championship series for the 4A baseball. And so she's like, I want to go down there. Me and my coworkers going to go. So she took Braxton, took the babies to daycare. And so me and Chloe just hanging out. And, you know, I'm a man who loves daughters. I don't know what it is. There's just something about the chemistry. I don't know if it's the way God made me or makes dads, you know, in relation to their daughters as opposed to their sons. But like, I crave time like this. And so I told Chloe, I was like, hey, listen, me and Bucket's going to record. You just come sit here, put something on TV. We'll just hang out, even though we're not like just talking, you know, just be by me and just hang out. We never get any time like this, especially with the young kids. I feel like a lot of times the older kids are the ones that kind of not getting forgotten about, but they can make a case because you're constantly chasing the 2-year-old, or you're constantly trying to feed the 2-month-old because they're just needy. And my 9-year-old self-sufficient daughter needs time too. And so she's getting spoiled by daddy today. And so that's my best of the week right now. It's as it's happening right now. I'm real thankful for that.
Hashtag girl dad, man. You can't beat that time with your daughter, and Chloe is one of a kind, man, sweetheart. And so I know that she's enjoying that time, and I'm glad y'all are getting it here on this sunny afternoon for sure.
Yep. She is currently, you may see her walk into frame here. She currently just went and made herself some hot chocolate on an 85-degree day in Ripley, Mississippi. So, anyways, all right, Buckets. We've went on about how the good things have happened. What's the worst thing that's happened to you this week?
Honestly, I bit the bullet, man. I have complained on this show about the vibrating front end that I've had on my truck for a long time. And I finally took it into Gateway, and boy, howdy.
Howdy.
It wasn't as bad as it could have been. It was cheaper than what I was initially quoted in Martin for.
Right.
But man, like I called you afterwards and said, I'm going home to put my wallet on ice because that one hurt.
Yeah.
But
you got beat up.
I did. I was a sad pup that day. I came home and I sat on the couch with the puppies here and was just kind of like, okay. Like the worst part is like, I know it was needed, but like, it's not even sexy, right? Because it's not even something you can't look at my truck and realize that I sunk like over $2,000 in it. It's just like, I mean, it rides better. I'll say this. It does ride significantly better. The bounce is gone. Everything is like, that's resolved. I just need some new tires now because they are a bit older. And so it rides a little rough from that, but the actual like bounce and vibration gone. And so I'm very grateful for that. But I just kind of sat on the couch for a little bit. Like, this sucks.
Yeah. You know, it always stinks to have to sink a lot of money on things that you can't see. You know, I have a garbage disposal went out one time, and I'm not a plumber, and I'm a YouTube engineer when it comes around the house. I'm a YouTube fix it man. I don't even plumbing is not something I even want to like start to try to learn. So I called a guy. I was like, hey, this one went bad. Here's the one I want to replace it with. Please fix it for me. And you know, you spend it's obviously much cheaper than ball bearings and an axle on a truck. But you know, you spend $200-300 with labor and materials. Yeah. And it's just like, once everything's done, you just look around and you're like, all right, now where is the thing that just got improved? Because I can't see it. And compare that to the deck I just built. Every day I can just walk here and look at it like, yeah, deck still looks good, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
So
it'll be the same when I get my tires. Like I'll be able to look at it and be like, it looks better, looks cleaner. The tires are newer. It rides better because of that. But right now I'm looking at a truck and like, even like I'm sitting and I'm kind of looking at that right front wheel, like, I suck a lot of money in you up there. You better last a long time, brother.
Right. You start the clock on it and you're just like, all right, I know when I changed you, so you better behave. You know?
Absolutely.
You know, it's one of those things, we're both this way, where we're both kind of instant gratification type of people, I believe. And correct me if I'm wrong about you. I know I am. And it went a lot into what direction of engineering that I went to. Like as an electrical engineer, I knew I wanted to work in power, but I worked at a job one time where it was a big company. It was so regimented. You did the same thing every day and you pass it on to the next group. You pass it on to the next group. And at the end of the day, you look back and you're just like, yes, I did work today. I can prove that I did work today, but I never saw anything finished. And so that is like the biggest perk of my job at a smaller local power company. From start to finish, I'm in it and figuring it out. And when I'm done, I can point to it and just be like, see, that's what I worked on. And that is such, as a man, I think, and maybe it's not just a man thing, but like for me, I need to be able to point to it. I need to be able to ride down the road and tell my wife, you know what I've been griping about the last 6 weeks? There it is. It's done.
Yep. Yeah, I'm the same way, dude. I like when I especially a task that kind of sucks. It's not like what I want to be doing. Like I need something. Like I'm not a material guy. I'm not a glitz and glamour kind of guy that need a ton of fancy things. But I like to see the fruits of my labor or the products of my work, or what I can buy with a whole bunch of money that I spend. And the fact that it's underneath the hood, inside my tire, wrapped around the control arm and the suspension under there, and I can't see it. Kind of a bummer. I can see that my savings account's a lot less than what it was, but I can't see what I paid for.
Was done. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that is a good beef. Spending lots of money like that is always a good beef. I'm going to spend very little time on my beef because it's something that's been addressed on this show by you thousands of times. But I've just got that crud. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. I'm going to be muting this mic a lot because I've woke up several times just like hacking last night, just drainage, summertime. That's the crud. And it's been a great week. So if that's all I've got to complain about, then I'm doing all right.
Good week.
You know, I don't have strep, knock on wood. I don't feel like strep. It's just, it'll be gone in a couple of days. And so bear with me. I was a little nervous last night. I was like, I hope I've got a voice tomorrow for this show, because if not, I'm going to be writing it down on a piece of paper, holding it up like, Taylor Swift in the window,
That's it.
But yeah, it's just been a good week. We got lots of family time. Got lots of time with the whole family. Got a little time with my oldest here today. All things are well. I did not have to put a new suspension on my truck. So, although I did have to buy a battery, and that was $200.
Yeah, I mean, that's a zero less than I had to spend.
Right. I understand. So, all right, well, that's going to do it for our first segment of the show. So, when we get back, Rusty has got this whole thing outlined for us. I don't know what we're getting into, but we're getting into something. I know we're going to talk some NBA playoffs, and I'm sure he's going to talk about the Mississippi State Bulldogs, considering he's wearing maroon from top to bottom. So that'll be in our third segment. Hang with us. We'll get to all this after our first break. But before we get to the break, let me tell you about Vicky Gann CPA. Vicky Gann, if the name sounds familiar, it's because she is my mother, and for 25 years, she has been an income tax professional. She's a certified public accountant. So if you or anyone you know needs help with accounting services, income tax, tax preparation, payroll tax, QuickBooks, anything that you need that is IRS related, call Vicky Gann and she can help you out. Her phone number is 662-415-6446, or you can reach her on her email at vickyganncpa@gmail.com. That's VICKIGANNCPA@gmail.com. Let her help you or your loved ones out with all of your income tax and business tax needs.
Not just the level of individual talent that he plays with, but it's also the level of his mind. We haven't gotten cross-court open shot this year. Right. We haven't seen that pass a lot. Number one, you got to respect him going to the basket. There's a roller. I got to watch the roller. He has the mind to be able to say, I see all of that, but now I see this guy over here. I'm going to get him this open shot. How shifty he is to always be going forward. It's usually side to side. Yeah. His dribble moves are side to side, but going forward. Right. Which is very hard to defend. I just want to get you, as many times can I get you to do this? But for him, it's not here. It is here, which is what are his moves to get down the floor. It's awkward for a defender to try to catch a cadence. You dribble. So now what I do is now when you go put that ball down, I'm going for it. But with him, it's hard for my cadence. But what's my cadence for you? I don't know what it is.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Who do you need to step it up? Outside of David Jones, I think David Jones is David Jones.
I don't think you need him to step it up because he's been performing.
Yeah, he's David Jones. Outside of him, he's fine.
I think Quinterly needs to play better.
In what way? He's facilitating the ball well. What do you I don't
to a 12 from the field's not cutting it.
It's not great. It's not great.
And I don't need a runner three from the top of the key with 3.5 seconds left.
Is Virginia the game where Jordan Brown is going to cook? Those dudes aren't looking to run the ball.
Cook what? Dude, I thought he was going to have a freaking night. He came out with that fresh cut, lined up. And then literally within the first 15 seconds, missed a wide open layup. Yeah. And then picked up 2 fouls right away.
I feel real lied to because I thought we were getting a 20 and 10 guy.
Didn't think it did anything for you.
Well, I think
we all thought we were getting a 20 and 10 guy. And we are getting that in David Jones.
I'm not even getting 20 or 10 minutes out of the guy.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the $2 Sports Show. Thank you for sticking with us through the commercial break. Just a reminder there, Miss Vicky Gann, the best CPA in Northeast Mississippi. Please give her a call for any of your in the world. Please give her a call for any of your tax professional needs. But it's time to talk about basketball. Drew, we've had some happenings this week. You could call us Buckstradamus because last week we talked about Taylor Jenkins' seat warming up a little bit on this very show, if you tuned in last Friday. And then what happens? The Athletic drops an article this week where he is one of the top 3 hottest seats in the NBA, which I agree. I feel like it's an overreaction. We talked about it a little bit on the Daily Grind yesterday morning. Luke and I did, but it just begs the question, where is this information coming from? I understand that there is some extra eyes on us next year because of expectations, getting some guys healthy, getting some guys back, possible trades that we're going to make. We talked about it a lot last week. Not going to belabor the point, but I don't know if you saw that, Drew. If you did, tell me any did it change your mind? Any thoughts about it?
I didn't. I don't have an Athletic subscription. I did not see that. To me, this time of year, especially, you're getting up to the draft. Everybody, for all these teams that aren't in the playoffs, they're only looking at like how you fix it. Everybody's kind of under a microscope if you're not playing basketball. So the off the court stuff is always going to be under a microscope if you're not playing. I just don't really care. For me, it's like if you're going to say something like that, then I don't feel like you watched enough Grizzlies basketball this year. Because yes, this team won 27 games. If you look at a box score, you're like, okay, wow, they really stunk this year. Maybe their coach seat is hot, and that just isn't the case. I refuse to believe that there's any pressure or any fear in his eyes that thinks that he is coaching for his job this year. I think there's pressure, but I think there's pressure anytime that you know that you've got a team that is built to compete. And so go compete, but I don't know that maybe hot seat is a term that's used for totally different reasons. I think people on the hot seat are, Doc Rivers. You came in mid-season and you struggled ever since you got there. You got ousted in the first round of the playoffs. Maybe you're not a good coach for this thing. Those questions have been answered for Taylor Jenkins. He's a really good coach, and he does really good job with this team, and his players back him. It always comes back to that for me. His players back him. You look at all the coaches that have been fired this offseason. You look at Frank Vogel in Los Angeles. You look at help me out. Frank Vogel was at Phoenix. Darvin Ham at Los Angeles. JB Bickerstaff, formerly of the Grizzlies, just got let go today by Cleveland. You look at all these coaches, the one common denominator is players came and spoke out against them soon as the season was over. They did not have the player support. Taylor Jenkins has player support. And as long as he's got Ja Morant's vote, as long as he's got Jaren Jackson and Desmond Bane's vote, he's going to be the coach at the Grizzlies. That's just that. And so, no, I don't think his seat is hot. But I'll say today, just like I did last week, my answer hasn't changed. If this team fully healthy goes 30-52 next year, then yeah, he's getting fired. You have expectations. But
it's more hot. It's more pressure than a hot seat. I agree 1,000%. And pressure is a good thing, like you said. If Ohio State and Notre Dame and Florida State or these schools are calling for your head football coach in college, that's a good thing. If there are expectations that if this team doesn't make, and I was talking with some coworkers today, it feels a little bit like Western Conference Finals or bust next year, just because we've been the 2 seed, we've made the second round, like. It's time to take that next step and actually be a force in the West and actually be that team that the West has to go to. And if it's not there, I think if you go to the second round and you lose to Minnie in 7 games, like you're not fired. Like you lost to a better team in 7 games. But if you get swept in the first round by Utah or something as the 2 seed, or you don't make the playoffs, like you said, I think that's a different conversation. But it feels a bit like this is the time where we need to at least make the Western Conference Finals. I don't think if you go to a Western Conference Finals, you lose. Obviously, he's not going to get fired. But I think this is the year we take that step and actually make it to a Western Conference Finals and be competitive, not get swept again.
It's all situational for me. Like, we've been the 2 seed 2 times. The one time we went up against a Lakers team that coasted through the regular season. They were better than us, and Ja got hurt. Another time we went against Golden State, and we had guys hurt, and they ended up winning the title that year. So, I mean, like, it's all situational. Whether you lose in the first round or the last round, I mean, if you think that, for instance, Phoenix, well, maybe that's a bad idea. They did fire their coach. But if Phoenix loses to Minnesota, it may have looked bad then because you've got Kevin Durant. But then Minnesota ended up going and beating Denver in Denver on a game 7. That loss that elimination no longer looks as bad as it did. It's all frame of reference stuff. So I think he's just going to have to wholly underachieve to get fired. And I feel like this whole conversation is just manufactured conversation. I don't even think there's sources. I think it's just opinion pieces.
It's because of the expectations, the pressure on them. Again, we're not going to belabor it. You're right. Again, it's pressure, not a hot seat, but
right.
Expectations are going to step up also, not only for the head man of the Memphis Grizzlies, but one, G.G. Jackson was named to the all NBA rookie team, second team this year. Shout out G.J. Over my right shoulder here, you can see his little rookie card back there that my boy here, Uncle Butt, got me for Christmas.
That value just went up on that.
Absolutely. My boy is a NBA all-rookie team, and the trajectory is just up from here, right? Obviously, next year, we're most improved player. Obviously, the next year is sixth man of the year, and after that, it's just NBA like MVP year after year. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, no brainer. By 2030, he'll have at least 4 MVPs, and we'll have at least 4 NBA titles, right? I mean, that's the next logical step. But like
Jaylen Brown once said, by the time he turns 25, he wants 5 championships. Like that's
we're 28 and don't have any. But anyway, Gigi's going to be different, right? Before he can legally drink alcohol, he will have an NBA title.
Right. I think that's great on him, and it shows the development that this organization does and how good they are at drafting, because Jaren, I believe, was all rookie team. Ja was 1 vote shy of the unanimous rookie of the year. Desmond Bane, and again, I think
he was second team all rookie.
I think he was all rookie team. And so they've just hit on everybody that's not named Zaire Williams, or Jake LaRavia, but he's coming. His time's coming.
The hits keep coming, as Chris Vernon says. Absolutely.
So I think I'm very stoked. I think that, it's one thing that as we get inch closer to draft day, you just have to keep reminding yourself, like, hey, with the 45th pick of the 2023 NBA draft, the Grizzlies took G.G. Jackson, who, if he would have went back to college with this crop of guys, there's no doubt in my mind he would have been the number 1 pick.
I mean, absolutely. And all the stories that keep coming out about him, he's such a good kid and doing so much for the community here in Memphis. If you follow the Memphis Grizzly social media accounts, you see all these giving back, including this week. He was on a playground with some kids here in the inner city, and the kid said, LeBron will lock you up. He looks at the kid and he said, I gave him 31, brother.
Yeah. Let these kids know. These kids, bullying is a lost art these days. Sometimes kids just need to get rocked.
Dude, I saw
go pick on the wimpy kids, but if you run in your mouth, son, you got it right sometimes just to knock that kid in the mouth, and
you got to refer him to the chart
away with it.
Absolutely. Before I left Martin, one of the last things I saw at Walmart was this guy wearing a T-shirt that says "Bring back bullying," and Gigi did it. Let him know I gave him 31, brother.
Yeah,
Gigi is your favorite player's worst nightmare is G.G. Jackson Jr. right now. I'm just tell you that. Giannis, LeBron, you don't want none of Gigi.
And he's just got such a great personality, a marketable personality. He's kind of a loose cannon, I think, is the reason why you don't see much of him in media. It's the first year in the league.
Yeah.
But he's great. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, just a home run pick for us, like you said. Would have been a lottery pick this year, but instead he is all NBA, second team, all NBA, all rookie team, second team. Shout out G.G. Jackson, just a phenomenal year. Continues, the hits keep coming, and then his role is only going to improve for an improving NBA or Memphis Grizzlies team, for sure.
Yeah. What did you think about how the semifinal games ended? I know we're going to get into the Western Conference Finals, the Eastern Conference Finals. But Indiana, New York.
Yeah.
What a performance by Indiana to go to Madison Square Garden. And it was kind of the theme of the day that day. Indiana went into Madison Square Garden and just beat them like a drum. And Minnesota ended the night by overcoming a 20-point deficit in Denver. To win that game by 8 in Denver in a game 7. Just great basketball.
Drew, I might be a prisoner of the moment, but these are some of the better NBA playoff games that I can remember in many years. And it's kind of fun this year being an outside observer, not having a dog in this hunt, that I can appreciate these games. Because you're right, man. That Indiana-New York game was just phenomenal. Halliburton woke up in a major way. They're getting big minutes out of Miles Turner, they're playing really good basketball.
TJ McConnell.
Absolutely.
One of us.
And then you got, and then the best part is Minnesota's doing it without Ant these last few games. Now we'll get into it in a minute, but they lost to Dallas, and Ant had, 19 and 11 kind of pedestrian, but in that Denver game that they won, he didn't have a massive Ant game where he went for 38 with a highlight dunk. Like he was like, I think he had like 18 or 20 in that win, maybe somewhere right in there. And for him, that's not a huge night.
It's one thing that's been very revelatory about the Minnesota Timberwolves for me is that they're not a young team despite their best player being young. Mm-hmm. You know, you've got Cat and Gobert and Mike Conley and
Jaden McDaniels.
Jaden McDaniels. I wanted to say Jared Vanderbilt, but it was the other one. Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah.
And they've just a very veteran team that's got the young energetic superstar. Mm-hmm. And they picked him up on the road where he just didn't have it. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that I love about him the most is in the TNT postgame show, he said, listen, I'm not just a bucket. You know, I didn't have it today, but I did have enough to lock down Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I love him. I thought that was great. I thought that New York just petered out in the way that only Tibbs teams can do. I was dead wrong about that. I thought after losing both games in New York that Indiana was done. They blew game one in New York, and I thought they were done. You were down 0-2, but they just went on a tear, got it in 7. Props to them. Nobody thought they would do it. Everybody kind of considered them, you know, they would never beat Milwaukee. And then, you know, Giannis goes out, and then that series goes late. And then to do it and then take out the Knicks who had taken out the 76ers. I mean, good on them. I don't feel like this is a cheap Eastern Conference Finals at all for Boston.
And I tell you, it's kudos to Rick Carlisle because, like, the team that he was coaching is in the Western Conference Finals. The team he's coaching now is in the Eastern Conference Finals. He's very much a process guy and a process-oriented coach, and it's working because he's got Indiana in the Eastern Conference Finals. Again, they had some injuries that kind of, like, gave them some favor to get there. But then they went toe-to-toe with Boston and lost in overtime by 5 with a controversial call and some kind of laying down late. But, like, Indiana's in this thing, man. Indiana's in this thing.
Carlisle lost them game 1. Yeah. But I don't – you know, I could easily – you know, and I told Daniel, I said, if Boston wants to win this series convincingly, they can. They need to, or else they're going to be called, you know, soft. You know, they need to really put their foot down on Indiana, and they can if they want to. But don't ever discount the tenacity and the do not quit mentality that this Indiana Pacers team has. Because I wanted to rule them out dead after game 1 in New York, and then definitely after game 2 in New York. And then come back and won that series in 7 in Madison Square Garden. So don't discount this Indiana team. They play really well at home. They can hold serve if they need to. And Boston's going to give them a game. They tried to give them that first game, the game 1. They're going to try to give them another game here since they eked that one out. You better not let Indiana stick around because TJ McConnell will make you pay.
Absolutely, man. They're messing with fire, sleeping on TJ McConnell, and they're like Indiana's just playing great basketball. And same with Dallas. Dallas is no joke in the Western Conference Finals, and the big matchup that's going to help them is I talked about this with Luke yesterday on the Daily Grind. Luka is a big guard, and
he's huge.
Minnesota doesn't have any size up front. Like Mike and Ant match up really well with Kyrie because they're similar size, they're similar build. But you saw it in game 1. Luka got downhill and leaning on Mike and Ant and some of those guys that were trying to cover him, and he was able just to get to the rim and get buckets. Dallas doubled up Minnesota in points in the paint because Minnesota decided they were going to try and shoot 1,000,000 threes. But a lot of it was Luka getting to the rim, and that's going to be something interesting to watch over the course of this series. Is can Luka lean on Ant and Mike Conley enough to wear those dudes out and he get what he wants? Because Kyrie is what he is. He's one of the best passers of our generation, one of the best handles of our generation. But Mike matches up with Kyrie pretty well. He always kind of has.
Yeah, but Luka is not going to be guarded by Ant. Ant said going into after game 7 that his matchup is Kyrie, which that means Jaden McDaniels is on Luka. Like Mike Conley, they're going to hide Mike Conley on, I don't know, whoever. Like put him on a wing. Put him on
not Luka.
Yeah, put him on Lively or something. I don't know. Like figure it out.
Yeah.
But you're talking one-on-one matchups. Conley's not going to be on either one of them one-on-one unless he gets screened onto him. They switch
And
his
that's
screen.
what I'm saying. Like Dallas can run things to expose that.
Right.
That's just going to be a big thing for them going forward. Dallas is bigger than you think they are, because everybody talks about the twin. You got Gobert and Cat that are so big for Minnesota. Dallas isn't exactly small. With Doncic, Gafford, and PJ Washington, Derek Lively, they've got some size. And so this series, I think, is going to be a lot better than people think. Because at first, everybody's kind of like, oh, well, Minnesota's going to walk to the finals because it's Dallas. It's not, Denver or whoever they should have been playing.
Yeah,
Dallas is going to get this, man. I'm excited for the series.
Yeah, I felt like Dallas was very much a way too much of a dog in this series. And I know Minnesota, knocked off the champ, and that they should be the favorite. Minnesota, that is.
Yeah.
But they should not be that big of a dog against Minnesota. And that's because you've got Luka and you've got Kyrie. And when you get in these playoff games where you're playing 4, 5, 6, 7 game series, what matters the most is who's got the best player every night. And you can tell me that there's Luka and Kyrie both can be the best player on the court any given night. For Minnesota, it's Ant and maybe Towns can be that one night. I think that Dallas is built for it. Now, who do you think wins that series? We'll just go each series. We'll start since we're talking about the Western Conference Finals. Give me a winner in a number of games.
I think the Western Conference Finals is going to go 7 games. And after what I saw in game 1, like you said, Kyrie had 30, Luka had 33. Derek Lively was 4 for 4 off the bench with 11 rebounds in 27 minutes. Like, that's a big night for one of your bench guys.
He's made Gafford kind of relegated to the bench.
He kind of has. I think Dallas can win that series. And maybe that's me just picking against Rudy Gobert and some of those guys, but I want to go with Dallas coming out of the Western Conference. I think that's a very winnable series for them.
Yeah, I think it's still Minnesota in 7 because I think they've got that defensive tenacity that they can lock. It's more feasible to me that they can lock Dallas down than the other way around. And my heart is just Kyle Anderson and Mike Conley. Like, I love them.
Fair.
I want them to win. I told Luke on the Daily Grind on Tuesday, like, hey, can we get Zebo for an end-of-year contract kind of thing, a postseason run? Just let him be the enforcer like James Johnson is for Indiana. Yeah. Just let him be an enforcer on the end of the bench and try to get the 2 remaining core 4 guys a ring that doesn't have one. And so I think it's 7 too. I thought it was going to 7 even before Dallas won game 1 in Minnesota. I think it's 7. I'm going to go the other way though and say it's Minnesota and 7. In the Eastern Conference Finals, I think that Boston has to put them away. Like, I just there's so much smoke there. Nobody believes in them. I think their coach doesn't feel respected. I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown don't feel like respected. But just the team doesn't feel like they have been from start to finish the number 1 team in basketball, and yet they're not treated that way. And a lot of that's their own doings, but I'm going to bank on the fact that they're going to have to do it. They know that they've got to do it. This is their shot. I think that Boston gets it in 6 against Indiana, but no game is going to be a blowout. And so that's what I think. I think Boston in 6. I think Minnesota in 7. And then, probably the big TV networks are probably melting down because it's
boring.
Not a very great matchup
Not
when
very
it comes
sexy.
to sexy names,
Yeah, I agree. You stole my thunder. I was going to say Boston in 6. I think Indiana is cute. I think they're going to give them fits. I don't think there'll be any blowouts like you said, but I think Boston kind of puts them away. Surely they figured out, especially, if Porzingis can get 100% healthy, I think that Boston can win that series. And maybe, the whole thing, but they got to show me something more than what they've shown me so far.
Yeah, I think that Boston can win this series without Porzingis, but I do not think they can win the finals without him. So I would just continue to tell Porzingis to get healthy. They started talking about possibly game 4, which would be the last of the back-to-backs in Indiana. I would say just wait till you come home in game 5 unless you're down significantly.
Right.
But I it's a fool's errand to bet on what somebody should do, you know, and what they should do is put their foot down and say, dang it, we're top dog, and they're going to start respecting us as such. What's very likely to be the case is that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown don't have that mentality. Like they may just be soft, you know, not soft, but yeah, like you said, they may just not be killers. And you're going to have to be a killer if you're going to put away this Indiana team without going to 7, you know?
Absolutely. 1,000%. Couldn't agree more. But the last thing I want to talk about with the NBA, it's the end of an era, Drew. And there's some big changes, big announcements made this week that TNT is going to catch some of the overflow from college football. But I feel like I'm losing a family member, losing the NBA on TNT.
Well, they're going to have one more year.
Right, but it's still like it's a swan song next year. Like I understand that, but like I feel like it feels like we're losing like part of the family with Chuck and Kenny's banter before games and Shaq over there laughing at every questionable thing that's said, that's what she said moment. Like he never misses one. And it's just like it kind of sucks because like these guys are like the highlight of my weeks and my nights a lot of times is catching, you know, the Charles Barkley quotes and watching them mess with him with the teleprompters and the questionable things that he'll say.
Right.
It's kind of a bummer to watch these guys go.
No, I record them and I watch them the next day a lot of times if I don't stay up late. And that's one of the good things. And hopefully the Grizzlies are good again next year and they get a lot of national TV, TNT primetime games. And so soon as the Grizzlies go off, then you get to watch Chuck and Shaq and Ernie and Kenny, you know, banter about, you know, it's one of it's a treasure and it's such an organic, you can always tell when something works because then other places start to manufacture the same secret sauce and no one has been able to do what Chuck and Shaq and Kenny and Ernie have done. It's just so organic. It's so pure in a very perverse sense of the word because pure is not what it is. It's very, very much off color sometimes, but it's just so organic and lovable and fun. And you learn so much. Rusty, I will never commit a crime with a check. I'll never do it. You know, I've learned that from Chuck, you know?
Yeah.
I know to get the churros in San Antonio. Okay.
And to avoid the women in San Antonio, unless you like big girls.
Right. And they wear bloomers in San Antonio.
That's it. They're ugly too, according to Chuck. That's it. But so
it is. And I will tune in. I mean, there's not going to be an NBA on TNT and inside the NBA next year that it won't be appointment television for me. You've got
absolutely.
It is properly appreciated. It's not like a show like The Office in which we are such fans where it is appreciated more after its time than during its time. NBA on TNT is appreciated in its time, and I will continue to do that until it rolls off the tracks here at the end of the 24-25 season.
I'm the same way, man, and I hope, like you said earlier, that we get more national televised games, so we get more moments like Gigi being interviewed by Shaq and watching that joy, watching Ja, you know, tell him to call 12, like get these memories from the rest of this show, what little bit of time we have left with it, because you know, the chemistry with Shaq and Chuck and Ernie and Kenny is something that's hard to, like you said, people try to replicate it, but it's hard to reproduce.
Yeah.
No, it's so organic. It just comes natural to those dudes because they're just old hats talking about basketball. And Ernie does such a masterful job of knowing when to let him go and knowing when to kind of redirect and keep it going. But that show just flows so well. There's so many great sound bites and clips. And I was just looking through it earlier when I saw that pop up on just scrolling through NBA on Twitter as a topic on Twitter, and so many great quotes of Chuck reading the teleprompter and watching Kenny try and run and all these things that are just like incredible television. And so hats off to a great show. I'm looking forward to one more year, but it's the end of an era for what has been a great part of the NBA experience for sure.
The ball's in your court, NBC. It sounds like you're getting it back. And so
don't screw this up.
You could lose us because the late night basketball show has always been a staple for us, and it's been because of those four and the chemistry that they have together. Don't go get former GMs and
sleeping dudes.
Stephen A. Smith. I don't want it.
No.
Go get some funny players and just let them have it to themselves. Don't be scared. Let them go. Let them be themselves, you know.
Because it's so good. Like we saw it at Mark's jersey retirement when the core forward just chopping it up on stage, and just the stories that come out and the analysis that'll come out of that. You can't manufacture with Stephen A. and Stan Van Gundy or something. Like, go get me some good players. Like, there's a ton of potential here. But Drew, we'll end our second segment there before we head up. We've got just a few little last minute things to kind of tidy up, and looking for any suggestions for anybody whose season ended a little bit early to do this summer. I don't know if you've got anything at the top of mind, but we'll talk about that right after this commercial break.
I'm just big on being able to vocalize what someone's role is. I always thought my best coaches were the people that let me know exactly what you expect from me. Now, I might not like it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right. But if you come to me man to man to say, this is how we think we're gonna play you, bang, 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 and hopefully everybody understands. I'm not saying that this has not been done with this team. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying from my experience, we all have egos when we get to this game. Right. All of us, to the last person on the bench, you got an ego. But all of us can't be the man. Yeah. You got to be able to say, okay, he's the man, but what do I do and what can I do to help us be good? And if it's vocalized to you, then you know exactly and if I'm out there doing it and now I'm not getting the result from you, now we got to sit down and have another conversation. Mm-hmm. But as long as it is told to you, this is what we expect from you, this is how we want you to play, then I feel like, again, keeping his logo. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. All right, Christian.
Yes.
You are Penny Hardaway.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Today, you're going to play act. Okay? Gabe, because you're a Jordan Brown apologist, you're going to be Jordan Brown.
I'm a Jordan Brown apologist. Okay.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Y'all are sitting across the room from each other.
I said, don't tweet him hate. And he's like, you're an apologist. Like, good God. But either way, continue. We're in a room together.
Why did things break down?
Jordan, we brought you in this year to be the centerpiece of our offense. You came in out of shape. Let's call it what it is. Call a spade a spade. We play fast. Told you this when we were recruiting you. We play fast. One of the fastest paces in the country. You have to be able to get up and down the floor. You have failed at that.
Oh, well, I'm leaving. So it's fine.
Cool. Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the $2 Sports Show. Thank you for being here with us at the 49-50-minute mark. If you're still here, click subscribe on YouTube so you'll get notifications about when these shows drop. Our shows like you just saw, Daily Grind, Grizz 901, all these great shows that are out there. Check us out, bluffcity.co, give you all the information that you need. But Drew, the SEC baseball tournament is underway at the Met in Hoover, and we had some dramatics on opening night, Tuesday night. Connor Hijack has been playing some incredible baseball for your Mississippi State Bulldogs, hitting a walk-off two-run home run to end what has been quite the abysmal season for the Ole Miss Rebels. It's been an up-and-down year for them, more downs than up, and finally had a mercy killing on Tuesday night in what was an incredible game by Brooks Auger, who threw 78 pitches, 66 of them were strikes, and was still losing 1-0. Had a perfect game going to the fifth for giving up a solo home run, and we couldn't manufacture offense to save our lives. And then all that for a two-run, absolute laser walk-off home run at the bottom of the ninth to send Ole Miss home. Any thoughts about that game before we traverse the rest of the tournament?
I mean, par for the course, I guess. You know, I know you're going to take your victory lap. Fine. I guess your team has earned the right for you to take a victory lap over a team that finished 11-20 in the SEC this year. Mm-hmm. The game, I turned it on about the sixth inning. Go what?
The last thing I'll say is, that's fine, but that makes 20. We've won 24 out of the last 31 meetings, and it's been since 2015 that Ole Miss has finished above 500 against Mississippi State in baseball. So continue.
You know that stat, you're going to find a way to change that stat every time, because it was since 2015 Mississippi State has not lost to Ole Miss in a series.
Right.
And so now, because of a win in Hoover, you can say that they didn't finish.
We won the season series.
Despite it,
we won the
never
season
mattered
series.
I've said that to you so many times.
We're moving the
We
goalpost.
win. No, yeah, thank you. At least you're admitting it, because I've said that to you many times. Well, no, we lost the weekend series, but we won the Governor's Cup, so therefore we're even. And you're like, no, that don't count. But
You're still below 500. We are above 500 on the season series and ended your season in Hoover. Hail State, buddy.
It is not going to be remembered that way. Okay,
Absolutely,
you lost the series. So anyway, I mean, and honestly, you lost the series to an Ole Miss team. It turned out to be awful.
Like
it was a mercy killing. It was so fitting that the way that went out, because we threw our Friday night guy on Tuesday, and he was incredible. You guys threw a reliever, I think, and he was incredible.
Incredible.
It was if a ball doesn't bounce off your center fielder's glove and go over the wall, that game is 0-0 in the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah.
And so it's just like you said, it was a mercy killing. I would have I'm not going to sit here and say that I wish it would have happened against any other team other than Mississippi State. Like, I'd pay $100 for that to have been Arkansas that beat us that way. Like, just so I didn't have to hear it from you. However, the story doesn't change of the season. And the story is you brought in the number one transfer portal class in the country, and it turns out, if you just look up and down that lineup, that team did not underachieve. They're just bad. Like, that's just the truth. And you can't, in an SEC game, like on a Tuesday, that's the other team's throwing a reliever.
Yeah.
Like, you score one run, and it shouldn't have even been scored. You know, at least Ole Miss threw their Friday night guy, who's been really good. Riley Maddox has been really good to close the season down for Ole Miss. And that's who State got. And so they can say, well, at least we kept it close. You know,
but we threw a reliever.
But yeah.
We threw a reliever he had more strikeouts than balls thrown. He had 13 strikeouts and threw 12 balls on the night. Just absolute masterful performance.
And I mean, I saw I heard an interview for him after the game, and basically his mindset was, hey, the Met's a huge stadium. It's the bigger than any SEC stadium that you will play in. So I'm not worried about making great pitches.
Yeah.
They're just going to have to hit it out of the park. And they didn't, and you saw that.
They did with help.
Well, I'm just saying, yes, but I'm just saying in the game as a whole,
right?
Like, Dakota Jordan could have ended that game or one inning earlier. Warning track power. He had a 3-run shot that just went to the warning track that would have been out anywhere.
Most anywhere else, absolutely.
And so, it is what it is, man. The season's been over. It was you kind of tried to find a way to make a reason that they could possibly get chosen by the committee for 2 or 3 weeks now, But then, you go in 2 out of 3 against A&M and you think, okay, maybe it's alive. We need to win the series against LSU, but then you get swept. And then it's just like, well, maybe if you can make a run, it's like, this team just wasn't good enough. It's just, it is what it is. And my Mississippi State friends, who, need I remind you, after this game he's gloating about, still thinks his team is trash and wants to fire his coach.
I never said the team was trash. The coach is trash. Because here's the thing. All right, so look, the reason we won that game was not because of Chris Lemonis.
You said we are bad at basketball. Lemonis is trash. Or bad at baseball. Lemonis is trash.
Lemonis is trash. Absolutely. So
you said we are bad at baseball. I've been trying to walk you off the ledge all year long on this baseball team. And you, despite the fact now you're in the 3rd round of the SEC tournament, you finished 17-13 in the SEC, and can you just not have nice things? What's the deal?
Justin Parker is the deal. We went from above 7 ERA last year to around a 4. Pitching is what's got us to this point. We haven't hit the ball extremely well. We have not been in great situations to win baseball games. We're a very talented baseball team. This is how we should have been performing all year. Absolutely. After beating Ole Miss, we turn around the next day I have an absolute gem from Kyle Stevens who like absolutely locked this one kid up. It was on the Pitching Ninja. Shout out Rob Freeman for the shirt that I'm wearing tonight. But absolutely locked this kid up with a 94-mile-an-hour chin music fastball. Just an absolute masterclass performance. And outside of like 2 swings, we didn't hit the ball or get in great situational baseball. We found a way to win late because Connor Hijack once again came through in a big way for us. After you hear this, hopefully I am just this as excited tomorrow when you're listening to this after we beat Vanderbilt in the nightcap tonight. But I don't think I've said it all year. I've said we're a very talented baseball team. Chris Lemonis is not the one that's going to get us over the hump. I don't think he's going to take us back to overtime or Omaha. I don't think he's going to get us a national championship. Yeah, if we win tonight and beat Vanderbilt, there's a really good chance that we host, and he'll absolutely be back next year as he should be because he got a host. He hosted a NCAA tournament game. I don't think he's the long-term fixture of this program. And what I'm hoping doesn't happen is end up in the same situation that Ole Miss is, where Bianco keeps doing just enough to keep his job. I hope Lemonis doesn't keep doing just enough to keep his job when we're a flagship program in the NCAA baseball realm, and we're just squeaking into the SEC tournament and squeaking into the NCAA tournament. That's not the standard.
Dude, you can't keep saying squeaking in. You're going to host. You're not going to be 16. You were the 5 seed in the SEC tournament. You got to, at some point, you're just sounding like a spoiled brat because this has been an incredible season for y'all. I don't know what you're mad about. I don't know. Like, okay, when you suck, you can say that, he won a College World Series with somebody else's players, but you're really good this year, and you're still just like, he sucks. Don't forget that he won a College World Series with somebody else's players or without. Mm-hmm. He won a College World Series at your university. He is going to host a regional at your university this year. You're in the 3rd round, or you're at least promised 2 more games in Hoover as a 5 seed in the toughest conference in baseball. Like, just get over yourself. Like,
there's two things.
Enjoy
like,
the moments, but why
these
can't
things
you
are
not
not
just
mutually
enjoy the moments?
exclusive. These things are not mutually exclusive. You can be appreciative of the results and critical of how you got there. It's the same thing with the same conversation we have around Taylor Jenkins. I can't
believe I'm having this conversation. It's the exact same conversation we have with Taylor Jenkins.
I can appreciate greatness, but there are things that we can do better.
Greatness.
A 5 seed is great. Yeah, like a 5 seed is great. We're a better baseball team than that. We're a better baseball team than losing to Air Force and Central Arkansas and UNA and Austin Peay and these teams in midweek games. And losing a series to Ole Miss and not sweeping Missouri and struggling against Auburn. Like you can still be appreciative that we took 2 games from Vanderbilt.
Baseball. You play 60 games a year. If you want undefeated, well, then you just keep on firing your coach until you're the number 1 team every single year.
I don't want undefeated. I just want great baseball. And we got that. We got hot at the end because guys are stepping up and making plays.
You're 17-13.
But we're not Lemonis is not it, man. I'm just telling you right now. I don't want to get trapped in being okay with the mediocre baseball coach for 25 years. I want better for my team. That's all that is. So anyway,
I will push back. So the Bianco, he is coming back. They did announce. It's no surprise. All right. 17-13. Let's see. Tennessee, Vandy, and Arkansas were at 20. And then you guys. And Georgia. So, I mean.
17 wins. Yeah.
Yeah. That's incredible.
I said I can appreciate it and still want more. Those 2 things are not mutually exclusive, man. Because if you start settling for that, sure, then you become you just become a middle of the road team.
I can't believe I'm hearing you. If I'm going to settle for hosting a regional at home, what else are you going to settle for? You want to be a top 4 seed every single year? Is that your expectation? Because you're going to be miserable. You sound like a Bama fan right now where
it's the standard,
we should be the 1 seed instead of the 4 seed. Like, shut up. You won a national championship game, championship series 3 years ago. You've struggled since then, but now you are a host site. You are a top 16 team in the country, and you're going to be in you're going to play at least 4 games in Hoover. I just don't understand what you want.
All I'm saying is Chris Lemonis is not the head baseball coach within the next 2 years. I'm just telling you right now.
I hope
telling you right now he's not.
I hope
telling you he's not. That's fine.
Ole Miss is not going to be looking for a new coach, though, because Mike Bianco is coming back for year 25.
I'm
and
so
I've got
glad.
mixed feelings on it.
I'm so glad.
Listen, Mike Bianco is a lot more than an average coach that got lucky 2 years ago. He built the program by himself. I do believe that he's not going to get another chance after this year if he sucks next year. Just because you just can't afford to keep up. You're going to lose season ticket sales. It's just not going to continue to be this way. You can't. There's too much money involved in it, and it's so hard to come back once you get down. So I think Mike Bianco deserves another shot. I do. He's been there 24 years. He's got a College World Series championship. Banners upon banners for super regionals or for a super regional appearances, for hosting regionals. He is the second leading head coach when it comes to wins in SEC history, behind only Ron Polk.
Mm-hmm.
And he's nowhere close to Ron Polk. He'd have to say 20 more years. But if you look at statistics, Mike Bianco is an incredible coach. This is a new era we're in, and he's had a really hard time figuring it out with the transfer portal era. I don't know if it's evaluations, if it's position coach problems. I do think he's finally going to have to make a change. He's never had a true pitching coach like Justin Parker did for Mississippi State. If you can get a guy like that in at Ole Miss, I think you're going to have a chance to be really good again. The pedigree's there, the culture's there to be good. You're just not. And so it's up to Bianco, and I think he's going to get one more chance to fix it. And, after that, I like rooting for the guy. I don't know Ole Miss baseball without Mike Bianco.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's a real prize for Ole Miss, is that you have a guy that's been there for 25 years. It's something you don't have to worry about. If you're in the athletic department, if you're Keith Carter, who is the athletic director at Ole Miss, it's one thing you hope to never worry about. You're always worried about people offering Lane Kiffin, and you're always this year worried about people coming and trying to snatch Chris Beard or all the other sports that's going on that you're going to have to hire and fire and everything. You hope that baseball is the tried and true, the steady force, and it just hasn't been that lately. And I know that he wants that to continue, to start back up, rather. And so I think he's going to get one more chance. I think he deserves one more chance. But on the other side, if I'm being honest with everybody, I don't know if I'm going to be a season ticket holder next year. It's been really hard. And in the time that we live in, I've got a family of 4. Groceries are more expensive. It's a real effort to make the money work to go to games. And if you stink, I can go to just as many games for cheaper by buying them by the game. It's just true. Season tickets are only valuable if you can't get tickets. And so you're seeing it, and Ole Miss fans are still mad. I believe that being mad is a good thing for a fan. You only have to worry about it if they get apathetic or don't care. And Ole Miss fans still care, but you've got to turn that around in 25, or they may not anymore.
Well, personally, I am grateful that Bianco is coming back for one more year. I'm glad to see that, and glad to see Ole Miss trying to work that out for him. But SEC baseball tournament is continuing. First time since 2010 that the top 4 seeds all lost in the same day. 1 through 4 all got beat on Wednesday. And
that's why teams like Mississippi State go so far in this.
Oh yeah, they don't care.
Everybody else is trying to. It happens every year.
You're right. Tennessee threw like a midweek reliever for their first game. It is what it is. Kentucky and Tennessee are hosting regionals and super regionals. That's fine. It's just cool, man. The first time that all that's happened, it's different. That's fine. I'll gladly keep playing baseball. And if we beat Vanderbilt tonight, we'll play again until Saturday.
I tell you what, I won't be watching is South Carolina and Texas A&M or whoever, two middle of the road SEC teams duking it out on Sunday for the SEC championship game. I won't be watching that.
Yeah, I hear you. But appreciate y'all being here. If you're still here at the hour 5-minute mark, we appreciate y'all. Give us a like, share, follow on all of our social medias. Where you can find us on Twitter, on Instagram at the number 2 underscore Bucks, or at the number 2 Bucks underscore BCM. Instagram, Twitter, follow Bluff City Media while you're there. Give us some love. Let us know what you liked about the episode. Again, happy birthday to Rockman and Mimi. Leave them that in the comments. They'll appreciate it. And guys, as always, there are no refunds for what you hear on this show.
Because with a $2 sports show, you always get what you pay for. Have a good weekend, guys.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.